Good evening and welcome to the finale of season 22, everybody. We have a champion, and that champion is Silo with a race to spare. What a race that was. Had everyone's heart in their mouth moment last week. But let's have a look at the full standings, give you the picture of what's happened. But I'm joined by a special guest tonight, Ben from Tier 2 of Console. For the last two seasons. I'm happy to have alongside me for this one. Ben, welcome along. How are you feeling for this?
Thank you, thank you. I'm feeling very excited. I feel very excited to experience Tier 1 for the first time in WOR. Of course, I follow it on YouTube, and that's not how I feel right now compared to when I watch on YouTube. I feel very excited. I feel very much a part of it. But yes, I hope everyone is having a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And yeah, I am very excited to get underway this evening.
Wow, the drivers are on track. We are in Brazil this evening. And well, without further ado, let's go over to the race scene and let's see who's going to be the first driver. It looks like it's one of the Hassers out there to set a lap time first. Is it going to be Monza, who's had a pretty up and down season, or is it going to be their teammate David, who's also had a pretty much up and down season? Looked like someone that really could produce some good results, David Bands, but just neither here nor there, unfortunately, with full race pace themselves and Quantum, both drivers on one lap, very, very quick, but doesn't always seem to produce into the race scene and side of things. Brazil, is it a track that you like, Ben? Is it one that you're not sure on? What's your thoughts on this historic track?
Oh, I love Brazil. It's a historic track, like you say. It's a fantastic track. I love the high speeds, especially the Senna S's. Personally, Sector 2 is my favorite. I love especially turns 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are... Oh, in fact, the whole, just the whole of Sector 2. That's the high speed, the downhills that we've just gone through. It's just a fantastic track in general.
Sorry about that. How do you feel pace wise from last night with Console Tier 2 to tonight? What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, you could ask me that in, let's say, in 10 minutes' time, because, I mean, it was so far, I could say so far that the times, they are quicker than what I saw last night, this time, in the beginning of qualifying. For sure, I am expecting quicker pace. I don't remember exactly the pole time. It was a 106 something, but we are going to get quicker lap times here in Tier 1. I am sure of that.
Fantastic. Well, chat, let us know who you think is going to take pole position this evening. Lawrence got a penalty after misdemeanors from last race in Brazil, in Spa, but this time around they're going to have to start at the back of the grid. But that's not the end of the world here in Brazil. You can still make some good positions up. Strategy always throws a fair few things through here. Nico Castronova there, and it currently 15th, just about to set, well, coming through the middle sector now, which is your favoured part of the track. Where can you really lose time, do you think, in this middle sector? Because there is a few spots to do it in.
I'm gonna say between turn 9 and 10. You're going slightly downhill, so that's kind of where you can lose. If you lose the car there, you can, you're gonna go wide, and then there goes your lap time. But in general, what I always say is that you can lose your lap time anywhere, but turn 8 and 9 and 10, that's those three corners, I think, is where you can lose the most.
There's Nico Castronova then. Well, 107, pretty much dead to put them ninth place for the time being. AMS Knight then coming through the final, well, just about to enter the final sector now. 51 seconds for that split time. It looks pretty pretty set through Zhang Zhao there, so it might be a good lap time. They'll hug this inside through turn 15 down towards the start finish straight and across the line for AMS Knight, and it's up into a 106.938 for them. Wards, are you going to be on a lap time? I believe you are. Wards coming through at these final few. There's a few drivers not really being able to set a good lap time. Wards, unfortunately, being one of them, invalidating through that part. Schumacher, I think, is going to set a lap time at this point. Let's see what they can do through the lap.
We're following with Schumacher as he's just going through sector 2 now, as we've just rounded turn 9 as we go slightly uphill to turn 10. As we back down, we go through 11. There's 11 now. Big uphill once again. That's a 51.3 through sector 2. Now, sector 3 is a very quick part of the track. Turn 13, 14 and 15. Those are very quick, using all the track on the left there. And that is P14. That was, what was that? I didn't actually see what it was. That was the 107.1, I think.
Yeah. Wow, look how close the, Schumacher and Fanny Spinoda is. 1,000th of a second separating them, as well as Luca and Simba Rock's one as well. We could see that quite often this evening because of how short this track is. It's only, what, 4.3 kilometres, 2.6 miles, whichever one you want to do it in. It's 15 corners, which is going to be... well, it's not as short as Austria, for example, but still, it's a short track, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you said, 4.3 kilometer track, 15 corners. The lap goes very quick. As we can see, our quickest time from Silo, a 106.6. I'm expecting personally a 105, maybe close to 104. I'm not sure. I need to we need to see a little bit later through the session to see where we can get, what times we can get. But yeah, it's a pretty short track. It goes very quick, and I'm sure the times will come in very quickly as well.
It's one of those tracks where you can push out a fourth quali lap if you really want to, and you're feeling a little bit adventurous. That will mean you're slightly stuck on a possible strategy for the race. Through this track. FLT typical coming through down into turn 9 and in towards Pico de Pato, turn 10, as they will try and keep, well, the car planted to the apex there. They've done a pretty good job there, but I don't think it's as smooth as typical would have liked through this track. Up towards Zhang Zhao, and it seems pretty planted right now for the McLaren. But I'm coming through, both themselves and Volokongan yet to set a proper lap time, but both drivers on this occasion looks like they will set a lap time. Here comes typical across the line, 107.8. Volokongan, season 20 champion no less, up into second place with a 106.702. Still not enough to displace this man Silo right now, who is going quicker on this lap.
Silo is improving through the first sector, up a few tenths. A bit of a lock-up there, and for now, he will need to press his teammate. How do you... I'm having a brain moment here.
Finley.
I'm having a moment. Finley, thank you. Sorry. His teammate, Finley, up to P2. Now he will... Has he backed out?
Yeah.
He slightly backed out, yeah. Bit of traffic ahead.
Yeah, Silo... sorry, not Silo. Quantum is absolutely flying on this lap. We could see the Alpine driver of Quantum coming through and doing something special, displacing Silo on this occasion. Quantum across the line. It's not quick enough in that final sector. Dropped times in that third sector, but Quantum showing very good. Having a very good showing there. David Bands then, I believe, just about a starter lap time in the Haas. Another driver very quick. I think I mentioned earlier on, seems to have that quali pace. But in the race, it sometimes falls away. Let's see what they can do tonight.
Yeah, you're right. It's he was up in P1 earlier. Now in 6th, as times are coming through, but now he will try push, give it everything to try get back up into the top 5 for the final part of qualifying, and oh, he's backed out. We've had another driver backing out once again, but um, yeah, I'm expecting personally to see some of the Hasses up there this evening in qualifying.
Dirk's thrown themselves up into P8 for the time being. Has Misha invalidated? Misha has invalidated. Ziwadi slightly quicker on their first sector time. So let's see how they can navigate through this. As there goes Silo on a second run, nearly a tenth quicker. Well, sorry, just over a tenth quicker than their teammate Finley for this one. It's going to be interesting to see if anyone can stop Silo this evening. Zwade then through Pico de Pato down towards, through turn 11. What's the sector split time? It'll be enough to possibly push them up into 7th place if they can keep this pace up.
Yeah, hopefully they can do that. Using the DRS, using all the battery, I'm sure, to the line, and that's going to be on 106.8 up to P8.
Only 0.02 of a second quicker than Shazoo Cedar Dirk there. 14th place is Nico Castronovo. They're not on a lap time. Schumacher, I believe, is going, or just put themselves up into 12th place, actually. White Sheep, are you on a lap time? They're agonisingly quicker in Sector 1, 0.04 of a second. So I wonder if White Sheep can continue the pace and try and get a bit quicker up the field. Let's see what this Sector 2 split time says. It's nearly a tenth of a second up, so could be a good lap for them to finish on.
Yeah, let's see, as we are going to go around turn 12, 13, 14 now, 15 DRS activated. That is a 106.8, and that is P9. Not that bad. That is an improvement, of course. Every second does count in qualifying. But P9 for now. Hopefully, we will see the Aston of White Sheep 2008, just White Sheep, finding their way up the times this evening.
Volakongan then is just about to start their second lap time of the evening, 0.06 of a second quicker than Max van der Geest, but there's an invalidation through the Senna S's, pushing a little bit too hard through that corner. That's tough on them on that occasion. I think Typical might be on a run through that. And just going back to the White Sheep name, do you think they're the 2008 White Sheep, or they were created were created in 2008? That's an odd question to start the evening.
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, I'm just gonna go be creative. If they're the 2008 White Sheep, yeah, I'm gonna be creative.
Fantastic. Chat, let us know who you think is going to take pole position tonight. Can anyone beat Silo? That is, I think, the question on everyone's lips right now. Here is Typical coming across the line. It's going to be a 107. It's still a 107.8 there. Consistent is Typical with their lap time right now. And with 4 minutes left of the session remaining, Ben, who's going to take pole position? Can Silo be stopped?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I think Finley will take pole. It's gonna be a shocker of a pole. I think I'm gonna stick to that.
Nice, fair enough. Let's hopefully Volakongan isn't going to invalidate. They haven't invalidated, but they are slightly down on their first sector time than their previous run. So Volakongan got a little bit of work to do on this lap as they head on through Ferradura into 8, 9 and Pico de Pato of turn 10. It's a nice flowing part at the moment for Volakongan, and this suits them, I think, a little bit more than a few other drivers. Volakongan's very good at nice inputs into it, and there we go. Their second sector split time is nearly a tenth quicker. So enough, hopefully, for them to place back into second place for Volakongan. Let's see how close it is going to be when it's across the line for them. And it is into second place, enough to displace Finley for the time being, as well. Luca is up in there into fourth place currently. Quantum hasn't been able to improve on their lap time from earlier. Neither's David. David Bands there in 7th. So a lot of drivers yet to show their true pace this evening, I think.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Luca will need to improve quite a bit on an out lap. Who else? Who are we gonna focus on? Who's on a lap? There's quite a few guys. There's a Ferrari of Mitchell, but he's abandoned his lap time, as well as Knight's also, I think, abandoned. Yeah, so a few drivers out, but they've abandoned their lap time with a few minutes to go. But I'm sure most of them will get to the line if there's not a lot of traffic. But yeah, I think we're gonna get quicker lap times near the end of this session.
The track will ramp up, and it's not like it doesn't look like it's getting cloudy or cooler out there either, and the grip will be laid down. And Schumacher, I think, is definitely on a... Well, no, they're not on a lap time. It looks like they're going for a second installation lap on this occasion. Let's see what Luca's done. Is Luca Volokongan's retired from the session? They're not going to go... They only managed 2 runs in qualifying for this session. I think Luca is on a lap time. Currently 4th. Can they do a little bit of a surprise and get a little bit higher up in the grid? We'll have to wait and see as they come through this middle sector now.
Yes, Luca going through the second sector is just going downhill, back uphill now through. That was a good sector too, a 50.7 as we've gone through turn 12, 13. DRS is going to be activated around about now. Sure, the battery will be on with the DRS for an extra boost, and to the line, that's provisional pole, 106.549.
That's very good from Luca right now. Silo's just in response mode, coming towards the start-finish line. What has Silo in the bank in response to Luca? And it's stolen back away by a 1/10 of a second exactly to Luca. And Luca currently second place, dispatching Volokongan's lap time, who won't be going any further. Finley across the line, and it's only 3rd for Finley. Lucas set a wonderful lap time for the time being. Quantum's not going to go any further. Dirk up into 6th place. I believe Max van der Gies might be on a lap time as Monza goes 3rd place.
Wow. So my prediction, not exactly right, but that was still a pretty good lap. I watched Finley in his second sector, and it was pretty good. But White Sheep also going to come to the line in less than 30 seconds time. To the line, only P11, and the checker flag has fallen as well. So many drivers going to have to push their way through the traffic, if they have any, to get to the line, as Schumacher goes P12 just behind his teammates. So it's an Aston 11 and 12. I'm not sure that's where they want to start, but that's where they are.
Yeah, they probably will want to be a bit further up. I think David Bands has messed up their lap time as well through that. They won't be going any quicker. Anyone else coming through to set the world alight? Nico Castronovo going into the pits. The Ferrari of Misha then, I think, possibly is pushing again, but on old tyres that could cost them dearly with it all, and getting out of the way, I think, of Typical in the end, realising that they weren't going to go, not Typical, sorry, of Wards, that they weren't going to go any quicker. And Wards then on a push towards the line to try and get themselves out of 18th place, and they decided, you know what, a pit stop is for them. Actually, no, it's not a pit stop, it's a demolishing of their car. Simba Rocks one, I believe they aren't going any quicker. I think that's qualifying over and done with.
I think so too. Basically, everybody has set a lap time. Everyone has set a lap time. So that's qualifying done and dusted. And that was a pretty good qualifying, I think so. I think.
Yes, well, I mean, you look at Silo, a 1/10 of a second quicker than everyone else. Everyone else is in little clumps close together, but Silo just showing the reason why they're the champion this season. Let's see if they can keep it up as we just go through. I think other than their misdemeanors in round 8, they've had, well, in 7 rounds, they've had 6 race victories. That is an incredible run of form for Silo. And let's have a look and go down the order. It is Silo from Luca, from Monza, Finley, Max van der Geest, Volokongen, Quantum, Dirk, David, and then Simba Rocks one as your top 10. Then you've got White Sheep, Schumacher, Zuardi, Nico Castronovo, Misha, Knight, AMS Knight, that is, Fanny Spinoda, Wards, Typical, and then Lauren starting at the back of the grid because of the qualifying ban they received from last week. Interesting qualifying ahead, but I do believe that is Luca's best qualifying of the season in second place. With being as close to Silo as they are, do you think they're the ones to stop Silo from taking victory this evening?
Absolutely, 100%. 5 victories this season. So, yeah, 100%. That's got Silo will be the one to beat for sure.
And well, we look at the standings. There's a lovely 44-point gap between Dirk and Silo. And don't forget, Dirk was leading the championship at the beginning of this season, and it just wasn't meant to be for them. No Tony Riesch tonight. Tony, after a heartbreak in Belgium, and no racing tonight will mean that they will finish no higher than third. Volokongen will need a good race. Well, will need a race victory tonight, I believe, to dispatch of that third place in the standings, and Quantum there in 5th. Max van der Geest in 6th in the overall standings. Fanny Spinoda 7th, 8th to Venom, and Lawrence 9th after a good race result a few weeks ago, and Nico Castronovo in 10th. From what you've seen qualifying so far, obviously, if you take Silo out of the way, who's the other 2 drivers that are going to finish on the podium tonight?
That is a good question. I think, you know what, I'm going to go very bold. I'm going to say Monza's going to be up there in the ass. And then I'm probably going to say, I don't know. Who else? I don't know. Maybe Luca will. I feel like he could still be the 1, 2, 3 fight for the podium the whole race. But you never know. I know Schumacher is also quick, but the qualifying just didn't really go his way.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, through that chat, let us know who you think is going to take victory tonight, whether Silo can be stopped, or if there's going to be any sort of safety car. I mean, it's looking. I'm looking at the grid. It's a bit grey. Do you think we could get some rain here this evening, really, to spice things up? Actually, I'm not going to ask that question because we're on 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Sao Paulo, and the Brazilian Grand Prix is underway. And it's a pretty good start, I think, from Monza, who's already attacking Luca to go to the inside of it all. And we'll have the centre S's. Monza's got the position from second place from Luca, but it's just caused a little bit of a gaggle of cars behind you, as you can see, as we head towards Decido de Largo, turns 4 and 5. Luca really struggling with overall pace right now.
Yeah, Luca didn't really get the best of starts as he's under pressure there from Finley. Finley's not going to give up so easily, and Luca trying to defend, but no, Finley is right there alongside him, and it's for now Finley is staying behind, but I'm sure he'll get that position any moment now. But yeah, that was a fantastic start from Monza, who got right up to P2 from straight through the center S's, and that is the dream start for Monza. Now the hunt is on for Silo. Silo's got a very hungry Monza right behind, and yeah, it's going to be a race and a half on our hands.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Monza can hold on to the back end of that incredibly quick Mercedes in front of them. Luca also trying to do the same thing to Monza ahead, as Dirk and Schumacher having a very big squabble in the background there. And I think that's Dirk. Is that Dirk out of this Grand Prix? No, Dirk is still running, but I think there was an issue. And this is going to affect Dirk's possibility for a second in the championship, with the battle with Volokongen, who's gone up into 5th place for the time being. Let's have a look at Finley's current run. The only real note that we should worry about on the tyres is David Bands in 8th place is on a set of hard compound of tyres, completely different from the rest of the top 10.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. That's a different strategy. Maybe they know something we don't. Who knows? But Yeah, that is very different, as I just saw that Knight got up into P16. So that's a move done there. But yeah, it's very looking at the tires. A few drivers, when I say a few, I mean only 4 drivers on the hards and the rest on the mediums. So yes, and just looking at the clouds. And to answer your question from earlier, I do think there'll be rain. I kind of hope for rain. That can always change things up.
You always like a little bit of a something different in the cauldron, really, to spice things up a little bit. Monza's doing a good job of just keeping Silo honest right now. Luca, I think, is the driver that may suffer from this because it's always teetering about that 8/10 of a second margin. And if you get outside that second gap from the driver ahead, obviously you lose the DRS, but 9 times out of 10, you start losing a lot more speed out of it as well. But I think this lap especially, Luca may have found a little bit extra just to keep Monza honest. You had the 2 strategy options on the screen just there as well. They were saying either a 2-stop or a 1-stop. I probably would be hard pressed to say anything other than a 1-stop because of the way the game has been built this season, or this year, or this game cycle. Nico Castronova did just get past Ziawadi on a set of hards to mediums though, so that might change a little, just some drivers' thought processes maybe.
Yeah, for strategy, I'm just going to go back quickly to strategy. Strategy, 1 stop is possible. Um, Personally, I think so. Unless late safety car, which is of course possible. Um, yeah, but I think it'll be medium hard. But for the drivers on the hard medium, of course. Soft will only be used, if you're wondering when could soft be used, that will probably only be used for the late safety car. That is possible, but I could just be, thinking the worst scenario possible. But yeah, Silo really is pulling away from Monza. That's not exactly what Monza would want to do. Hopefully we could see some more action in front, like we've seen at the back that I've noticed. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-stop.
There you go. Monza's broken. Well, look, Silo's broken that gap to Monza, and we could now see a change in position for second place with Luca smelling blood pretty much for that second position now. Oh, and he's got deep into turn 1. The ZRSs will see Finley switch back, and all the pressure was on Monza, but Luca was the one that cracked. Here comes Finley then, down the Retta Reposta towards the Cido del Lago, and there's a little bit of contact between the two of them, but Finley's through into third place.
That was a great move there, but we've got the McLaren there who's just gone up. Where have they come from? Just from the back there, up to P3. That is a shock and a half. That is something right there. Finley's gone down, but not Finley. Luca has gone down. Not 1, but 2 positions down. That is not the lap that Luca would have won. Sorry, let me say that again. That's not the sector Luca would have wanted. Starting lap 5.
Definitely not. Luca having a massive problem there. Definitely not on their bingo card list for Brazil this evening, as Monza survived the scare but still dropping away from Silo. But this time they've got a WR console tier 1 champion behind them, back from season 20 in Volokongan, and is all over. I don't want to say all over, but it's going to start breathing down the Haas's neck on this lap as Monza starts to lose more ground to Silo ahead. Luca, well, that was such a shame for them. Looked like they'd finally got the little bit of inconsistency from the start of the race over and done with, but there's a big lock up into the first of the SNRSs, and it's cost them big time. And now they've got Max van der Geest behind for company with Quantum and David Bands there as well. Fana Spinoda dropping away from the top 10 a little bit, just within the second mark. That could be a little bit problematic for them, but obviously the race will start coming back towards them because they are on a set of hard compound tyres.
Yeah. I feel bad for Luca in a way, having such a good start, then dropping down position by position, but it's still a long way to go as DRS is open there for the McLaren, and there we go, straight up to P2, past Monza. But hang on a second, that's changed. I take my words back. Monza is not giving up just yet as we're going onto this back straight here. We're going through we're going to go to turn 4 now as it's wheel to wheel there with Finley there and Monza. Was that a little touch? I don't think so, but they are still wheel to wheel. Monza's gone up to P3 once again, braking a little bit later, I think that was, and holding on to P3, and Finley now would definitely want to continue the constant pressure on Monza as we are going through sector 2. Really hard braking there for Monza, as just trying to brake and trying to get away from Finley, but Finley will have DRS. Monza will also have DRS, must I just say, to the McLaren there in P2. I'm sure they'll both be using their batteries at this moment on the track, trying to get closer and closer, ever so closer to each other. As we start lap 8, we're going through the center S's once again.
Yeah, it seems like it's come around really quickly as David getting past Quantum for the battle for P7. What racing IQ from Volokongan. I don't know how much Monza knew that Volokongan was very much playing for the DRS to go down the Retroposta. Great driving from Volokongan as there's a little bit of contact behind. I think that is Schumacher losing maybe a space to Fana Spinoda. This is very, very tense between the two of them as they head up the hill towards Ferradura. As well, Nico Castronovo getting past their teammate. That wasn't what I was expecting to happening there. And just behind Zawadi getting out of shape while he attacking Fana Spinoda. It is all happening all over the racetrack. Because now Knight gets past Zawadi, who tries to go back up the inside of Pico de Pato. My goodness me, everyone's trying something at the moment.
Yeah, there's action everywhere, and that's what we do like to see. We love to see lots of action going on this track. I don't know where's my English going today. It's not the weekend just yet, but as we on to lap 9 out of 36, it's still Monza in P3 as Finley still going to try everything to get that P3 spot back. But as we are on this straight now with the DRS activated, it's a long DRS train, and yeah, Finley just doesn't have the pace to catch up yet. As I just saw someone made a move. Who was that? I saw someone. It was one of the Williams, I think, making a move. Unless I'm seeing things, I'm not sure. It is possible, but no. Someone did make a move. I don't know if you saw that.
Pretty sure that was Fana Spinoda getting past Schumacher and AMS Knight having a little sniff at the diffuser of the Aston Martin. David Bands, Quantum and Simba Roxwan, I think we're getting very... Oh, no, sorry, it was Luca, Max van der Geest and David Bands that were very close together for the battle for P5 as well. There's so much action to watch over. Monza is just clinging to the back end, or the DRS activation of Volokongan ahead, and just this time might be able to be a bit more aggressive through the center S's down the Retroposta, but a little mistake through the first corner has cost Monza a little bit of grip as they head on down towards Decido de Lago, but on this occasion nothing's going on, and really at this point Silo's run away a little bit. They're 3.4 seconds in the lead. The advantage for second place is really sitting with the driver in 7th place, I feel, because David Bands is looking very racy on these hards, and the races, they're just going to get quicker and quicker and quicker when the medium runners are just going to get slower and slower.
Yeah, they are looking very quick on those hards. I have been watching them this race, and I have seen quite a few attempts and some good moves as well, as they are just trying to get past the Racing Bulls, the V-Carb, whatever you want to call them. That pink livery is theirs. That could happen now. It could happen as we are going through the final corner now. And now DRS is activated onto the main straight. It could be a move down to turn 1. No, a little bit of hesitation. Not really hesitation, just not enough track. But we will go again as this Dirk can I just say quickly, in the pits, I wonder if there's some front wing damage.
Doesn't appear to be. Maybe it's a feigned two-stop for Dirk. We'll have to wait and see how that one will pan out. It might. Some drivers prefer having the extra grip so they can push that little bit harder through this, as the two Williams of Nico Castronova and Fana Spinoda are trying to catch back up with the main group. Out of all this, Finley has dispatched Monza, and that must have been down into Desigo de Largo, as I went on board with Dirk to see if there was any front wing replacement. Luca, Max van der Geest, still very, very close together for the battle for P5, but getting closer to Monza in all this as well. And, well, first, second and third are occupied by Shizou Cedar drivers. That just shows the quality of their team right now.
Yes, they are very powerful. That's not well. I mean, you got two Mercedes out there, one McLaren, technically three Mercedes if you think about that. But no, Luca still putting pressure on Monza, trying to get there, as Max did pit down in not 18th now as Finley. He's got a 3-second time penalty. So that's going to change some things up, for sure. Unless they push away, and they can still hold on to their place. But, yeah, it is a very quick race so far. I was watching early, it was about 2 laps ago, so lap 10. Max and Luca, they almost collided. So that was very close, kind of got on the edge of my seat there, but hopefully no one got damaged from that incident.
There doesn't appear to be, but you sometimes can see that there is just superficial damage to cars, as we've got a whole host of drivers popping into the pits, and that's a second driver this evening picking up a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. First one was Max, the second one was Monza. That could really affect the landscape of this race. A set of hard compound tyres going on to Finley, Monza, AMS Knight, and I believe it will be Wards as well, as here goes Max van der Geest coming through the centre S's. Going to definitely get the overspeed on the drivers that pitted the lap later. And there is Monza. Finley very close to being side by side with Finley, but not on this occasion. But that's a massive couple of positions gained for Max van der Geest, and that will do them well come the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's yeah. They, each position, each second always counts, especially in Formula One. One mistake and that could be your race done and dusted. But yeah, a few drivers, like you said, 2 drivers, Max and who was it? Sorry, Finley. 10-second time penalties. That's never the best. As we got the McLaren coming in now, they will go to those hards, and they will come out. I think maybe. No, they will stay. No, they're gonna come out about 16th or just ahead. But yeah, I was gonna say something else. Oh no, we've got a few more drivers coming in. We've had White Sheep, we've had the Red Bull of Zoel there in 18th now on the hard tyres. Now most drivers, basically the whole grid besides a few, on those mediums. On those hards. So we'll see full pace now all the way to the Czech flag.
Zuardi just ahead of typical coming out of the pit lanes, but then goes wide out of Desido de Largo, taking what was the Max Verstappen line in 2021. Monza picking up a 3-second time penalty to their name here. Interesting that Quantum, Lucas, Simba Roxone have yet to pit. They're going for tyre life at the end of the Grand Prix as David Bands pulls away. Silo is into the pits. They had plenty of gap to their name. I will have a look as we go on board with Volokongan rounding the final few corners as they head towards the start-finish line. Where is Silo going to be in comparison when they exit the pit lane? I still think Silo is going to have a large lead as Dirk retires from the session. They've had enough. They need Volokonga not to finish any higher than second place, I think. At second, well, third or lower, and they will claim second in the championship. But Volokonga is half a second away from Silo, and that is just worked, I think, perfectly for Volokonga and Finley, because the drivers that have decided to hold later to pit, that being Quantum and Luca and Simba Roxwan, are going to find it very, very difficult to get back up and overtake these drivers once they're in a DRS train of a driver on the same lapped tyres as them. The ones to really watch out for is David Ban, Nico Castronovo, Fana Spinoda, and also Lawrence, because we know they are a race-winning pedigree right now.
Yeah, you were saying that it will be hard for like Luca and the group just ahead and behind will be difficult to get through. That didn't actually make any sense. Let me reword that. You said that Luca will have some troubles getting through, and a few other drivers. Well, I think they will manage to do that. I do think, and I see that happening. Fresher tires, then a few. The only one that's the oldest tires technically is Monza with 3 laps, and Knight with 3 laps as well. So besides those two, Luca's got the fresher tires and a few drivers behind, but it will be possible for sure, and I think Luca will get up to at least the top 5 this evening. We've got only Schumacher that needs to pit. It's trying to just fight his way, hopefully for him, through the Ferraris. That could be possible. This is just slightly locked up as that happened, but yeah, we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna give until lap 20 to see how these guys will do in the front with slightly older hearts.
Just go aboard as Lawrence and Fana Spinoda getting very, very close through the center S's as Fana Spinoda tried the cutback on the Ferrari, but Lawrence managing to get the position done. Is there going to be any fight back down the Retroposta into Dercino de Largo? No, that is how it is going to be at the moment. Silo is only 3 seconds behind this battle for the podium position, but obviously the top 6 have yet to pit. They're pushing further into this Grand Prix. David Ban's 3.6 seconds in front of Nico Castronovo, who seems to be in a little bit of no man's land at the moment. No position, no one to fight with, no one to battle off, no DRS to gain.
Yeah, but besides that, clean air is the best for the tires, especially, and even the engine if it overheats. This game, if the engine overheats, I've personally figured that out the hard way in a race once upon a time. But we don't talk about that one. As into the pits, Schumacher comes finally on lap 18 as Silo gets the fastest lap of the race. So that just shows Silo really is pushing, and he is pushing. They are pushing very close to the Ferrari, right in ahead with the DRS. I'm sure with the battery as well. It's full push now for Silo. Could we see battles with Silo? Absolutely. Or would it be a very easy overtake for Silo? Who knows? We will have to wait and see. But we've got multiple laps to go, so we will see many actions on the track. But honestly, I think that Silo would definitely, as here goes Silo. I was gonna say Silo would definitely get past this lap. There goes Silo. Up next, the Williams in 4th.
Yeah, it was a very sketchy moment through there, leaving turn number 9 to turn 10, because there was a little bit of a tail wiggle for Misha as here comes Silo on Fana Spinoda, and that's a relatively easy move, as there goes Volokongan past on Misha as well as they head into the center. S is just ahead. There is no defence at all to stop Silo, as I think Fana Spinoda is going to be next on the hit list for Volokongan, and Lorenz moves out of the way, as does Fana Spinoda of the the leading pack through all this. And Misha really getting in the way of Finley. Finley is going to be cursing their luck through all this because they can see the race-winning targets of Silo and Volokongan pull further and further away as they're stuck behind in a slower corner up in the inside of turn 8. They've had to make that move, or otherwise they could face being left behind. Max van der Geest is also having to make a similar daring move up the inside into turn 10. Misha is not making it easy for those drivers out there today, as there goes Monza sailing through as well. My goodness me, that was very, very tight between them.
That was a little bit too close for comfort. But we're gonna see more of it takes now with the DRS as we who we're watching there, the McLaren there. Had to just double check. That's not very professional. As here we go down to turn 1, literally down to turn 1. For an overtake there for the McLaren on the Ferrari there. That was a good move down to turn 1. We saw that, like you said earlier, Max Verstappen 2020, what was it, 22, 23, using that part of the track as well into turn 1. That's an iconic place for overtakes, especially downhill with the DRS.
And now Fana Spinoda making a slight mistake and allowing Max through. The two VNT drivers, obviously not in the same team this evening, but not causing themselves any issue. And Monza up the inside of turn 8, and Fana Spinoda is not making it difficult for them. Silo built a large lead and now is pulling away from Volokongan again. It's nearly 2 seconds, and Nico Castronovo was next on the hit list for Silo. Lorenz then still in front of Finley, who is, well, getting frustrated with not being able to overtake a few of these cars, even though they are on worn hard compound of tyres, making it very difficult for some of these drivers, because you're getting so much more grip on the younger, fresher tyres in the slower sector of Sector 2, yet they can't make the moves because the track isn't that wide. As look at that, Lorenz again making that Ferrari seem like a width of a double-decker for Max van der Geest as they head down the Retta Apposta towards Destino de Largo. And it's, well, Misha and Fana Spinoda squabbling on the same set of tyres. There's no way through for Max on Lorenz just yet. Are we going to see another move up the inside of turn 8? Lorenz just can't, well, sorry, not Lorenz. Max can't find a way through right now, but all of this squabbling is just allowing Silo and Volokongan a bit of fresh air up the inside into turn 10 of Pico de Pato, and surely that's the move done for Max, and maybe Monza is in the wings as well.
Yeah, that was a good move there for Max. Up another position as Monza there squabbling with the Ferrari there. It's going to be an overtake, I think, with the DRS there. Monza is going to be put under pressure for sure. Down to turn 1 we'll go, but Monza's also putting a lot of pressure there on Max, and there goes Monza. Monza up to P6 again, but hang on, Max says no. Oh, was that a little bit of contact? I think so. I think it was a bit of contact.
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit. I think it was more superficial contact. I don't think there was any damage to the cars. But Max and Monza, the two M's, I suppose, in this race, having a little bit of contact and a little bit of argy-bargy in the Senna S's through it all. But look at the squabbling cars in that midfield battle, side by side, with Misha and Sheep. Sheep is up, White Sheep is up the place, and look behind, Luca trying to fight and squabble away with Fana Spinoda. The runners, the drivers on the hard, real, worn hard compounder tyres are being eaten alive right now.
Yeah, that was a move in a bit for Sheep. Luca really not giving up. He's just letting the two cars, the Alpine of Knights and the Ferrari there, just battling, and Luca's just watching, thinking, oh, you guys can battle, as Silo there goes back up into P1, as Finley finally goes up to P4, gets past the Williams. But yeah, Luca, drivers are in the pits as there, another 10-second time penalty for the Williams. So that's another 10-second penalty that we don't like to see.
We don't like to see it. The drivers don't like to see it either, do they? They don't want to be seeing these time penalties hit more than they need. Let's have a look at the time penalty situation. Finley on 3 seconds, Max on 10, Monza on 13, Wards on 3, Typical on 3, and Fana Spinoda on 10, sorry, as well. Positional changes through this one. It's quite interesting. David Bands up 7 places. Okay, yes, yet to pit. Same with Nico Castronova. But they're definitely ones to watch come the end of the Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the position changes just show how good of a race they've had so far. But it doesn't matter if you have 4 position losses. You can still have a great race. We're not far from the end of the race, as a few drivers have also come into the pit, like the Haas of not David Dwarf. I don't know what's going on with my brain this evening, but yes, into the pits and onto the, is that the mediums? I didn't quite see, but it's another pit stop.
Yeah, it is a pit stop for the medium for David, as Monza and Nico Castronovo having a squabble. Nico yet to pit. They are the last driver, I believe, yet to pit from this set. We are pretty much 2/3 of the way through this 36-lap Grand Prix. Up the inside of Pico de Pato for Monza on, oh my goodness me, and that is 2 cars off the track. Nico Castronovo and Monza are off. Are we going to see a late safety car? I'm not sure, but Monza is drifting through to get back onto the racetrack. Nico Castronovo is going to be fuming. Monza's going to be fuming. They've both lost a lot of a huge amount of time through that, and that is going to be
Oh no.
That happened. That definitely happened in this Grand Prix. I don't even... Is Nico Castronovo able to pit, or did they get... I think they got sent back out to the race.
Monza was... Monza was in the pits. Both of them were in the pits. They both collided. And it was Monza that continued into the pits. Yes, Monza continued into the pits. No, we don't like to see that happening.
Well, let's have a look at the gap to the leader. David is 20.6 seconds behind Silo. That is an awful amount of time to gain in this Grand Prix. And even with fresh tyres, it's going to be a tough ask for David to get onto the podium, I think, right now.
You never know what could happen. You never know. But, it's a full push now for them trying to catch the Aston. There's through goes Schumacher on... well, hang on a second. David just fighting his way back as there goes... no, who was I? As there goes David again on Schumacher. That's done and dusted. Hopefully going to pull away now from Schumacher. He just wants the clean air, of course. But we've also got the Red Bull just behind there, who's watching this battle in front of their eyes.
Luca, I got caught in something. Fana Spinoda picking up a 3-second time penalty there. Luca getting caught with something. Was ended up in the wall at the center S's. I'm not 100% sure what happened to Luca, but that is not ideal for them. Front end plate left damage, and that was going to cost them big time through all this. David then up into 8th place, 18.6 seconds. It's coming down quite quickly to the battle. You know what? David is proving to be a very, very slippery and quick customer right now.
Yes, and they've also set the fastest lap, so they really are pushing. And I told you earlier, they will make their way through with Luca. Luca has, but not exactly where they would want to be, with the damage especially. That's not good at all. Sitting in 11th, just outside the points by 1 position. But yeah, Luca will have to keep that car under control, as There's the Ferrari just behind, putting on a lot of pressure. But yeah, we've got some time to go in this race. Anything can happen.
And in F1, generally anything does happen. Fannis Binoda does have damage to the front left of their Williams as well, as Misha trying to find a way through the Williams. As just ahead, Luca getting passed by Lorenz in the end. As well, Misha, I think there was a little look to go up the inside of Pico de Pato and then thought better off it. They're just going to wait until the start finish straight, pick up the DRS and fly on by. I think that's probably the best way for them to do that this evening. Silo 3.7 seconds in front of Volokongan, who is a further, I think, 2.1 seconds in front of Finley. Those guys have seemed to have dominated this race, and there's a little bit of contact there between Misha and Fannis Binoda down the start finish straight. That was very, very odd. I wasn't expecting contact. That should have been an easy move.
Could have been, it could have been, but it wasn't. As we're going again with the DRS now, down to turn 4. No move done, just not a lot of track, not enough track. As we are going through sector 2, and yeah, Silo is really pulling away. Here it is, 3.8 seconds. It's probably going to go 3.9, no, not 3.9, and well, I think we knew from the start that it could have been Silo, of course, champion. But it's still an interesting race. Just because one driver is leading so far doesn't mean it's going to be a boring race. But besides that, the Williams of Van Spin trying to close their way through, catching the Ferrari. DRS will be activated in a few moments' time. That moment will be right now. Down to turn 1 we will go. Could there be a move, or will it just have to wait? I think it's just going to have to wait.
It was a big, big late lunge, it felt like, from the Williams driver of Fannis Binoda, or maybe it was just to try and compensate the damaged front left end plate going into that corner. They just don't have enough grip, it feels like. Maybe enough front down force to help them through as they continue through. Decido de Lago as they head towards Ferradura now, uphill towards Ferradura. It's a very undulating and over a track, really, isn't it? The way it flows, it helps you in some corners but hinders you in others.
Yeah, especially the downhill parts of the track, like we'll go through in 2 corners time through sector 2. That's why it's kind of it is my favorite of the track, this downhill now. That's really flowing there, and then go back uphill, and of course when you get the DRS through turn 15, that's exactly where the aerodynamics kick in with the downhill type corner.
Lap 30 of 36 then. The final moments of season 22 of Console Tier 1. Silo has pretty much led the majority of this Grand Prix, like they've done especially the end of this second half of this season. They have been pretty much unstoppable. Volokongan pulling away. Nico Castronovo, now the fastest driver on the track. They stayed out a little bit longer than everyone else, possibly to wait for a late safety car to see if that will save them, get them back into the swing of things. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case for them right now. Lap 31. We're still watching Fannis Binoda try and do anything to Misha, but I think that front end plate damage is hindering them to no end. So let's head up to, the battle for P4, because Max van der Geest is under incredible pressure from Quantum and White Sheep right now.
Yeah, I've been watching that one. You've been watching the back of the grid there, and Sheep is doing everything. I've watched the battery usage and the acceleration and the braking, with all 3 of them. But I must say, Max really just holding them quite well. As there was a move down near the back of the field, I didn't quite catch who that was, but yeah, Max really is holding them up quite well. The pressure is on them for sure. As lap 31 already for Silo, for everyone. My apologies, it will be but a stop lap 32. But yeah, we don't have that many laps to go to get as much action as we would think we would have in these later stages.
Definitely not. These guys, though, battling for P4, do have a fast runner of David coming through. Quantum then dispatching of Max van der Geest for the time being. Two pink cars, or pink and blue cars, but different teams swapping around a little bit through there. White Sheep hasn't probably looking going, I probably need to get involved in this one a little bit more. But I say David is involved. I can't. Oh, David's behind AMS Knight. There's two Alpines and I'm getting them mixed up together. I see a pink car and I just automatically assume it's an Alpine, but it's not. It's an RB for it there as well. I think David's a little bit far off from this, but this could end up being a good result for AMS Knight, even if they do do finish behind David in the end. Lauren's getting past Zawadi. But yeah, this is a little bit of a subdued end to the Grand Prix right now, unless Quantum, Max and White Sheep can really squabble it out.
Yeah, we would love to see some late lap action. I know I said there won't be a lot of action. I'm sure there will be with 3 laps to go. But yeah, I mean, you never know as Ward's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's definitely been up. There goes Wards again. 10-second time penalty this time. Could that be a retirement? Yes, they did retire. We don't like to see that. No one likes to see that unless there was some issue with their setup. Schumacher now gets a 3-second time penalty. The overtakes aren't really coming through. It's more the penalties coming through.
It's becoming more of a race of attrition, and Schumacher's got to be careful because Lorenz is just over 3 seconds behind them, but also Ziawadi's not too far behind. They could finish with a non-scoring finish this evening, and that's not what they want to do, as Fana Spinoda pits maybe to get a fresh set of softs on. Yeah, it looks like it, to get the fastest lap of the race and see what they can do there. Probably a fresh front wing as well. They've got to be quick about it because that is a Mercedes coming down the start-finish straight, which is Silo. It's about to lap them. Simba Rocks one retires from the session. That's unfortunate for them. I believe they got themselves involved in an incident. Is that Luca going? No, that is Ward's car pulling off at Decido de Lago. Silo's just going quicker and quicker in this Grand Prix. Quantum's broken away from Max van der Geest, and that left them in the clutches of White Sheep, who has just dispatched them at turn 4. That's a pretty good, easy, but pretty good move nonetheless from White Sheep.
Yeah, that was a pretty good move. Dan's gonna have to hold on to that P5. Don't want the worst case scenario of losing that place just after you've gained it, but that sounds pretty obvious. But yeah, Max putting on the pressure, and I'm just gonna say, looking at their wheel, both their wheels, there is a bit of a difference for one of them. I don't want to make it obvious who's who, but yeah, there is a difference, as that's gonna, I'm sure that will change some things up in the closing laps. We're going on to lap 35. There we go. So it takes us on to lap 35. They have passed one of the Williams there of Fana Spin. I'm not sure why they didn't retire or something, because they are ghosted, but I don't know. I don't unfortunately have the answers. We've had another 3-second time penalty. They are really coming through now.
Yeah, the race of attrition definitely is setting in as Max holding on to the back end of White Sheep at the moment. We're on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, and this is, well, just making sure that they just don't pick up any more penalties like Finley has in P3, and Quantum's doing a good job of trying to pressure the Mercedes of Finley, because if you have a look, let's have a look at the details of this. It's a 3-second time penalty for Finley, and Quantum is within that 3-second time penalty, so Finley could lose out on the podium right now, and Quantum could take it away.
That would definitely not be what Finley would want, as fastest lap there for Nada Spin, but it's AR. It's not gonna, it won't count anyway. But yeah, Finley has to push now. Now it's foot to the floor. Lap 36 out of 36. We are on the final lap. And Mercedes would definitely want a double podium. It's not a 1-2, but it's still a double podium. And yeah, Finley just needs to keep their head down and just watch the track limits.
Well, we've just seen David dispatch Max van der Geest. David is definitely racy towards the end of this Grand Prix, even on the older tyres. Obviously, the car is much lighter than it was at the beginning of the Grand Prix, so is able to take more pressure, I believe, through it all. But let's see what they can do into Turn 8. We've seen that as an overtaking opportunity through this race. They think better of it on this occasion as we head through the final lap of Season 22 here in WOR console tier 1. A little bit of issue with the steering there, a little bit of oversteer, but it would be rude of me not to go on board with the driver that's controlled pretty much the whole of Season 22. Shizu Cedar Silo takes victory in the final round. He is the champion without a doubt. Volakongan comes in home in second place. Finley is going to try and keep hold of third place. What can Quantum do? It's agonisingly close. It's enough to take it through the end, and White Sheep holds on from David in the end for the battle for P5 as well, and Max drops down the order quite a little bit. Lorenz coming home in 10th place, but will dispatch of Max van der Geest because of the penalty situation. That's something that really is being a bit mental this evening. Look how close Ziawadi and Max van der Geest are on the penalty situation as well, and that is, well, the two Williams look like they're going to go home side by side, or it did look like that at one point. They're trying at least.
Yeah, they touched. Okay. Well, there you go. That was a race in a bit. I think that was a good race to end off Season 22.
I think it's a very good race to see it off as Nico Castronovo and Fana Spinoda giving us a little bit of a action towards the line in the end, and my goodness me, well, a very good race to finish off Season 22. Plenty of controversial action, which is something that we're used to as well. We wait for the information to pop up on my screen. The driver of the day has been given to Lorenz. I'm going to give you a little bit of time before I ask you that question, what your thoughts are for that one, Ben, while I run down the order. And chat, let us know who you think driver of the day should be as well. Look, Silo takes victory from Volakongan and Quantum, rounding out the podium in the end. Finley, White Sheep, David, AMS, Knight, Schumacher, then Lorenz, and then Max van der Geest rounding out your top 10 and point scoring finishes. Then you had Ziawadi, Misha, Luca, who started this race in second place, ended in 13th. Typical Nico Castronova and Fano Spinoda finished out the runners. And then you had Simba Roxwan, Wards, Monza and Dirk all couldn't finish this Grand Prix, unfortunately. Yeah, so driver of the day, for who do you feel driver of the day should be, Ben?
I give it to David. I think that was it was a fantastic drive throughout the whole race. Luca could have had driver of the day, but unfortunately the race didn't go their way besides the first lap. But yeah, David has to be the final driver of the day for me this season.
It's been a very good drive from David. And while I'll stick with you on that one, I think that's a great shout. White Sheep also had, on their debut in console tier 1, nonetheless, had a great finish for P5. Let's just remind everyone, not the standings, but who the champion was this season, and that is Shizu Cedar Silo there, and what a way to just cement being the champion with a great finish for them in the end there as well.
Yeah, well done to everybody. I can't just say well done to everybody this season. It's been fantastic to follow along throughout the whole season. Silo as well on Mercedes Constructors Champions. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it on. Thank you to everybody, of course. It's been a fantastic season for everyone, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ben, for filling in the final race of Season 22. And with that, I don't believe we're going to get anyone for a podium interview. We very rarely, unfortunately, get podium interviews in console tier 1 on this game cycle. So for now, I think that is going to be... Ben, how would you round that race off as a whole before I do my ending spiel?
I will rate it a solid, I don't know, a solid 8 out of 10. It was a great race. You know, lots of action everywhere on the opening laps, coming to the end of the race. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
It was a very good, maybe a bit subdued toward the end, but nonetheless, it was a really good race to round out this season. And you know what? It started, console tier 1 started, well, before Christmas in America. We saw Dirk take victory. Then we went to Silverstone, in which we saw Dirk extend the not extend, but continue the championship lead. And then Tony Riesch came to play. Then we went to Italy, round 3, and we had Dirk take victory again, and this time extending the championship lead. But that's where things started to go a little bit south for Dirk, but started to improve for Silo. It was a first of 5 victories in a row for Silo in Saudi Arabia. Then Mexico, we saw another victory for Silo, and a 16th place for Dirk and a 3rd place for Tony. And another victory for Silo in Australia, a DNF for Dirk and a 2nd place for Tony. Then Austria, a victory for Silo, if you guessed it by that point. A 14th place for Dirk and a 2nd place for Tony. But a 3rd place for a resurgent Volokongan coming back through. And then round 8, Zandvoort, where the title could really have slipped from Silo's hands. A 13th place for them, a 3rd place for Dirk, a 2nd place for Tony Riesch, while a 5th place for Volokongan, but a first victory of the season for Lorenz. But then heartbreak this time for Tony Riesch, as they finished in 10th place in Belgium, and a victory for Silo to claim their championship, which meant that round 10, while a little bit of a dead rubber for Silo, meant that it was an incredible race for everyone else. And I believe that Volokongan does come home in 2nd place in the championship overall. But from the final point from this time on Console Tier 1 in Season 22, just like to thank everyone behind the scenes, Luke and all the people that do, Chris that do the graphics and everything. Thank you so much. It wouldn't be WR without you guys. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Ben, and everyone who's filled in the Console Tier 1 seat beside me this season. Thank you so much. But for now, goodbye. Thank you.